Hello, I'm Paulette MacDougal.
And I'm Ann Edwards, and we're talking about paradox players at the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin.
Let me start.
Okay.
The oldest profession. This was one of the most fun productions, I think, that we did.
It attracted a big audience, to tell you that.
Yes, and maybe it was a little risky.
And risque.
Risque and risky. I loved it. And this person here, do you know who this person here is? This sexy blonde down at the bottom?
My own kids did not recognize me in that photo. Only my mother, seeing this photo, knew which one was me. This was a significant production for a couple of reasons that I remember. We had 100 and more people coming to see this show. The other thing about that show that sticks in my memory, which is, I'll let you audience in on this now, oftentimes when a ensemble piece such as this gets going, especially when the actors are of a certain age, we were all 55 or older, what often happens is that someone forgets a line. And if you're working well as a group, somebody else will step in and fix it. But what I remember clearly is that there was not one performance of this show when one of us or another, maybe several, didn't forget a line or skip over. Every single performance we had one of those goof ups, and I would challenge the audiences to have noticed, because everybody else was picking up and helping.
And where did all this start?
It started in 1999 with the minister. We had Reverend Zelazny at that time, and it was his idea to gather a group of folks together who enjoyed drama. His idea is that we would give dramatic readings, dramatic interpretations of those readings. And you know, Paulette, after that minister left, we were having so much fun that we kept meeting as a Readers Theater group. We didn't have any longer assignments of specific readings for Sunday morning, so we just found short plays that we could read out loud in about an hour or so. And we had a solid group from the very beginning, and we were off and running. I remember that you wanted to choose strong plays that reflected one of the 7 UU principles and UU values. Now that was one goal that turned out to be a really tough one.
It was easy at the beginning, but it was tough, I agree. The greater Austin community came to recognize paradox players as a quality community theater.
Paulette, I don't think this interview would be complete about paradox players without talking about what I thought were your 2 masterpieces that you wrote, that we produced. Waiting for MacArthur and Sisters Under the Skin, which was the last production that we did before you left. Waiting for MacArthur was one of those plays where you're very aware that the audience is right there with you because the tensions are so alive in the air. And it's also one of those plays where the audience, we learned, had different understanding of the message of that play. Now, I think that's the hallmark of great writing. This was a play set in World War II?
In Corregidor and Wisconsin and Australia. Well, I have to say they were abandoned by MacArthur. That's why we have the name Waiting for MacArthur. This play is about one woman from Wisconsin, young, enthusiastic, rah-rah nurse, wanted to be in the Army as a nurse. And she volunteered right out of nursing school as soon as she could. and eventually was sent to Corregidor.
Well, that's the bare bones plot. But I think for Paradox Players, the timing of the production was significant. We were producing that just before President George W. Bush declared war. Other show I want to talk about that Paulette wrote is Sisters Under the Skin. This was the last show we did before Paulette retired from Paradox Players. Also a historically based play.
It was based on a wealthy woman, a plantation owner in Richmond, Virginia. She became close to Jefferson Davis and his wife, Verena Davis, and lent her slave, Mary Bowser. Mary Bowser became the dining room servant in the Confederate White House, where she was able to listen to the generals when they talked to each other. She was able to go upstairs to where the president's office was, where he left papers lying around. They were able to pass secrets of troop movements to Lincoln.
The story is one that's not well known, and it was important to tell the story.
And that it's true.
Yes, it is true, and we had a great cast. There were a lot of changes of scene, which is a challenge technically for any director, because that's the time when the audience would get kind of restless. That never happened during this performance because the choir was singing spirituals that were typical of the time. And as the managing director of Paradox Players at the time, I noticed that the ticket sales went off the roof for that play. That and Waiting for MacArthur. Very, very strong audience response.
And that sexy one.
Oh yes, that one.
Yes. That sold
the oldest
a lot
profession. That sold a lot of tickets too. But you didn't write that one, Paulette.
I didn't. I wish I had. Oh, that's a brilliant play.